everyone, and welcome to our first Notion workshop that's being streamed in English. So far, we only done it in Croatian language. But as today we have our guest who doesn't speak Croatian, we will have to do it in English. So I will just introduce the guest right away. To introduce you to my co-host actually. So most of you probably already know Vishnya. Hi Vishnya.
Hello, Sanya.
And we also have Noah Bragg with us today. Hi Noah, hi. I hope you're doing fine.
Hello, yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. This will be good.
I hope so. So I've been having some technical issues today, but even if I just completely block out, I think at least Vishnya is here and I think you two can do everything. So I'm okay. I can go have a beer. Thank you very much for coming. What time is it? You're in Seattle, right?
Yeah, I'm in the US and it is 8 a.m. here. So in the morning, just got up not too long ago, but it's all good.
An early person?
I mean, kind of. I have some little kids, so I kind of have to be an early person a little bit, but so yeah.
Okay, cool. So Noah, you're the founder of Potion. For those of people who are not so familiar with Potion, can you just say a little bit about what Potion actually is?
Yeah. So Potion is basically a website builder that's built on top of Notion. So you can use all of your Notion content, all of your Notion pages, and Potion will kind of recreate all those Notion blocks and turn it into a website that's actually hosted by Potion. You can have like a custom domain, and then you can kind of add your own like custom styling and custom fonts, custom colors, things like that on top of what Notion already has. So you can really kind of make a custom website for yourself. And then, the cool thing is that, it's built on Notion. So you can go back and you can update Notion pages, update your content, and it just kind of updates live for you. So yeah, that's kind of what Notion or Potion is. Kind of adds, some magical potion to Notion. That's kind of the idea.
That's cool. We have Vladimir who is watching us live. Hi, Vladimir, and very glad to have you here today as well. If you have any questions or anyone else, please feel free to write it in the chat. We will try to scan them. We'll try to ask Noah whatever it is that you would like to know. I have a question. We said that today we will actually build something on Potion, and I really do think that we will do it. But I was just wondering before we start, how did you come up with the idea to actually build Potion? What was the trigger for you?
Yeah, so I've built lots of different like side businesses in the past, and I really like the idea of building on top of other platforms, just because there's already something valuable there, and there's already a group of people that are finding value in that platform. And so then like any tool you add on top of that is kind of just adding to their process that they already have with that. And so I was kind of looking for different platforms at the time. So this was about a year ago that I started Potion. And at that time, I had already been using Notion for a year. And I just really liked Notion. And it really stuck out to me how verbal the community around Notion was and kind of how they just like would talk about it online and they just loved Notion. And so I saw that as like a really good sign that maybe there was some potential there in the Notion space. And then at the same time, Notion had just kind of started talking about their API, that they were going to have an API. So it showed me that like, oh, wow, it's like early days for like building on top of Notion. So maybe there's like a wave kind of building there that could be good. And then really the final kind of research that I did that really showed me like, okay, I think this kind of product, like building websites on top of Notion, makes a lot of sense. Is there's another tool called Fruition where people could kind of like hack together a website, and they'd have to know a little bit of code. So it wasn't like the most straightforward thing, but there were hundreds of people that I could find that were trying to do that, where they were trying to build their website with Notion already. And so I saw that as a really good sign that like, okay, there's something here. There's kind of demand for this already. People want to do this. If I could just make that easier, then hopefully that would be like a good product that'd be valuable to people that they would want. So that's kind of where the idea came from, and I just kind of started from there.
Yeah, that's cool, and I totally found myself in what you were saying, because when I was looking for a tool to kind of upgrade my Notion website, I was also looking at Fruition. What's the correct
Fruition, yeah.
pronunciation? Yeah.
No, that was right.
And I'm not a developer. So I love technology, but I'm really not a developer. And when I have to do something with code, it's kind of scary for me. So I rather not touch it. But with Potion, it was extremely easy for me, and everything was so straightforward. And that's why I actually started using it and loving it as well.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, I am a user, you know that. One that's also been sending a couple of emails already. So,
yeah, all good.
Yeah. For people who don't know, when they want to create a website from Notion, what do they actually need besides a Potion account? So they have Notion already. That's the prerequisite. They need Potion to kind of add it up. And what else do they need?
Yes, I mean, those are really the two main things that you have to have. Like you have to have your Notion account, like you said, because that's where all the content is coming from. Really, that's all you'd have to have. The only other thing that would be nice to have that most people want to do is have your own custom domain. Have something like mydomain.com, something like that. If you don't have that and bring your own, then you can use a Potion subdomain. Like you could put your website at myexample.potion.so. So you could use a subdomain. But if you want to have your own custom domain, your own branding, then you'd need to buy, that domain somewhere, and then bring that to Potion, and you can use that on your Potion website.
But is that a must? I mean, would it be possible to also use Notion and Potion to kind of beautify the website on Notion, without putting it on a special domain? Okay, it would have an ugly URL, but would it work or not?
I mean, you would just have it at a Potion subdomain, and that could be something that maybe you just share among yourself or a couple people that you want to. Like, you can even make it so that like Google, like search engines, don't find your website, so you don't have to worry about it being like indexed and showing up in search engines. So yeah, that is a way you could use it if you wanted to. Like, there's even an option to add like password protected pages, so that you could basically only show your website to specific people that you want to have access to it. But yeah, I mean, typically, like, most people are creating their Potion sites to, share with a larger audience or have Google try to pick it up. And so then it's, it's a site that anyone can go to.
Yeah. I just wanted to say hi to Gordana, who is watching us. She said hi as well. And there's Julianne as well. So hi, both of you. And if you have any questions, feel free to just write it in the chat. Okay, so for today's workshop, we actually prepared, or Vishnya prepared, some materials so we could actually show how it looks like when you're taking your Notion site to Potion. I just wanted to ask you, what are the most what are the most used use cases? What are people actually building with Potion?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of people, probably the main use case is like portfolio websites where they're showing off their different projects, things that they're working on, and then like blogs, personal blogs is another popular use case, and then there's also like solo creators that are using Potion for like info products where they can kind of create content, a website for content and share it with their audience, things like that. And then there's like a group of companies that are actually using Potion for like career pages or help docs, and kind of like wiki kind of docs. So those are I guess the last one is there are people that are using it for like landing pages as well. So there's a kind of a wide variety of use cases, which is pretty cool that you can do those different things. But those are kind of the main ones that people are using Potion for.
Yeah, cool. The thing with the job boards, I think that's really great because it's so easy to update the information and it's very quick. The CMS in Notion and in combination with Potion is really something that you just type in and everything is automatically there. So that's really a cool thing. So I think we'll be seeing more and more of such websites built on Notion and Potion.
Yeah.
Should we start building something?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it'd be cool if Vijna could share her Notion page and what she's hoping to make here, and what this project is.
Not a problem. I have shared my Notion page, so let me just zoom in a little bit. No, let me zoom out so it looks like
I
I
will
intended it.
temporarily just remove the chat overlay so we get a little bit more space here for your page. Is that better?
Okay, that's better, and you can put our camera feeds aside in a layout that allows us. Yeah, I think this is the best
Okay.
view. Okay, so what I have here is a landing page for a single digital product that's called a case study writing workbook. This is a digital product that I created on Gumroad. I sell this. I sell digital workbooks and templates and guides on Gumroad, and I just never found the time, to write out the actual landing page where I would present my product. So, for the purposes of this stream, I have created a short page. It's nothing special. It's just a little cover, a little bit of the information about the product, what you get, what's inside the workbook, who's it for, where you can buy. This is an actual link to Gumroad, and a little bit about me, about the author. So this is something actually that I have on my website for other products, but let's try to see how this works with Potion. So that's it.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, I can share my screen and we can now kind of go through the process of what this would actually look like to kind of take this page and put it in Potion. So are you guys able to see mine now? Or I might have to add it.
Yeah.
There we go. Cool. So I have access to the Notion page as well. And so here is the Potion website. This kind of shares a little bit more about kind of what I was talking about, like what Potion is about, where you can customize things. But once you create an account, you'll basically go into the Potion dashboard here, and you can see that I already have lots of different Potion sites I've created in the past because I have to be creating Potion sites all the time, of course. So the first time you'll see kind of like maybe like a little video that just kind of walks through the first process of creating your first site. But obviously I don't have it since I have other sites. But yeah, the first step will basically be going up here and just clicking add a new site. And then here it will kind of
No,
start filling
sorry
out.
to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, go
Would
ahead.
it be possible if you just magnify this a little bit? I'm just not
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
how much people are able actually to see.
Hopefully
That's cool.
that's good.
Yep.
Cool, great.
So yeah, so basically we just have to fill out a few things to allow Potion to start creating the site kind of in the background. And so let's see, so we have the name. So I'll just kind of copy the name here, and this will be kind of the name for the site. So then here, this is an important step where Potion needs to, see the Notion page. And so to do that, we actually have to make the page public in Notion. So we'll see if I have access to do that here. Doesn't look like I do. But Vishna, if
Already.
you could go in and make this page public.
Yep.
Basically, we're making the page public so that Potion can access it. It kind of gives us this public link here, and so that's now that she's made that public, that pops up, and all we have to do is then just paste that into here into Potion. So this step is kind of where we set our custom domain. So this is like where people are putting in the URL bar. And so the first time you create your site, you have to use a Potion subdomain just to kind of get it going. And then after it builds and you have your site, you could come back here and you could change this to using a custom domain. I think for the purposes of this demo, we're just going to use a Potion subdomain. But this is where, like, to have a custom domain, you'd have to have bought that elsewhere, and then just bring it here to Potion. And there's a little bit of a process to basically point your custom domain to Potion, where like you're setting up your DNS provider, similar to if like any other kind of website kind of creation. But it is easier to do this Potion subdomain just because I already have all that kind of stuff set up in the background. So what do you
I'll
think?
just say that the part of adding the DNS record, so I could do it, then anyone can do it. So
yeah. So what do you guys think? What should we name this website or the subdomain here?
Vishnu?
Are two words okay, like case study workbook, or just case studies, or just workbook?
Okay, yeah, we can do case study. Like we could do a dash too if we want to do that. Case study dash workbook
That's good.
.potion.so.
Yep.
So then we hit continue, and kind of in the background now, Potion's going to start creating that website. But in the meantime, we can add a few things. So here we can kind of set or pick a font. So it has the Notion, the default Notion font. But if we want our site to look a little bit different, we can do that as well. And this is something that we can kind of play around with too. So let's just try Lado just to try it out. And then this is a description that will show up in like Google. So like if you searched for this website and it popped up in Google, this would be like kind of that one-liner underneath the title of the site that people could see. And so this is good for SEO and just good for people to kind of be able to see quickly what this site is about. So maybe I can bring a sentence or two from here. Maybe this top one, would that be a good one, you think?
Yes, you can. Yeah, just the top paragraph. If it's too long, just cut the last sentence.
Okay, sounds good. We'll put that in.
I think it's just important to say that this is something that can be also updated and changed later on. So it's not that you have written this once and cannot change it. So you can always come back, and if you think of a better description, you can always update it.
Yep, that's right. So then we have a couple other options. So like this one is, do we want like Google and other search engines to be able to find our site, or if we check that off, they won't be able to find it. I don't think
Yes.
it really matters. Do you want it on or off? I don't know if it really matters for this, but
It's okay. You can turn it off for the time being.
okay. And then this is kind of shows the little search. So kind of like when you see a normal public Notion page, you'll have the search in the top right. So that's kind of what this is. I think for this one, we'll actually turn that off because we're going to add a menu, which I'll show a little bit later. And then this is another feature we're probably not going to use, but basically allows you to add a password over your site where people have to know the password that you set right here to be able to access the website. So that's kind of another cool feature for some different use cases.
And I'm going to interrupt again. So
No, that's fine.
now, I just think it's a very, very cool feature. And I saw it in your roadmap. So at the moment, this password protection is on the whole site, correct? But in the roadmap, I think you have it that we will be able to select which pages are actually password protected. And that is super cool and super useful for client
Yeah,
portals and whatever. So, really looking forward to this one.
that's good to know. Thanks for that feedback. Because yeah, that's kind of the plan, that you could go in and you could choose like specific site pages that you want to be password protected. So yeah, then you could have like a main page that everyone can see, and maybe it kind of talks about even like an info product or something that people have to get the password to get access to. So yeah, that's kind of the idea with that. So yeah, the last thing kind of set up here is we can add a fav icon. This is the little icon that shows up in like the tab, and then a site image. Let's see if I can, this wouldn't be like the best. Well, actually, maybe I can get this image here. Yeah, maybe I'll save this, and this would be like a good site image, I think. And so a site image is kind of like the image that when you're like sharing your website on like Twitter or social, like this image is what's going to pop up for people to see. So let's just save that real quick. And so now like I should be able to just drag this in here, and that will save this as the site image. We'll just ignore the fav icon for now, but yeah, that's basically the little icon that shows up in the tab bar. Okay, so at this point, we're going to just click continue, and we get some confetti telling us that we've built our site. And it takes usually kind of just a couple minutes for Potion to build the site, but it shows that it would be here at this link. So we'll click that to see if it's completed or not. And it looks like it's actually already there. So you can see this is, and maybe I'll zoom up a little bit. This is what we have so far with Potion. It's just kind of recreated the Notion site here. And so yeah, that's kind of a base for our site, and then we can keep kind of editing as we go. But one kind of cool thing to show is if we go in here to Notion again, and we actually edit, let's just testing, I'll just put like testing or something like that. And I just edit this Notion page real quickly, and I jump back over to Potion, you can see that it like updated really quickly. And it probably, if I come back again, it will grab that 3 as well. So it allows for like really quick like editing where you can be like updating pages in Notion, and the content will just kind of jump over here real quick, which I mean, the idea is that it makes for like a really nice like editing experience where, you know, as soon as you're adding things, they're being added to your website. So yeah, that's pretty cool. We can get rid of this now.
Yeah, it is. I'm editing stuff all the time. So for people like me, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you can add new pages and things like that, and it gets added to your website. So So maybe now what we can do is if I go back to the dashboard here in Potion, now it will kind of, after a second, it will show our new site here. And it shows that it's live. It shows a link to it. And if we click back into it, we still have these options that we can go back and change these. But now another option we have that I can jump into is the live editor. And so this is kind of like a little preview of the website here on the side. And then we have some options for some things that we can change. So you can see we can change like the font again, and it will update, and we can kind of just get an idea of like what it's going to look like. We can change the like font size if we want it to be like generally bigger overall. We could do that. We could change the background color. So let's see if we can find like a interesting Vijna, what's a good color that you'd like to see as like the background?
Something light blue, like you selected right now. It's okay.
Oh, perfect. I guessed. Okay, so yeah, we could do something like that, a light blue. You can change like the primary text. Probably wouldn't want it to be that, but just to show, like you can kind of change the general, like what the text is going to look like. Might just keep it black for now. This kind of changes the content width. Like if we wanted there to be less padding on the side, we could do that. The default for Notion is around 720. But for any of this to actually go to our website, we have to click save. And so now if I jump back over, after a second, you'll see it updates, and now we have the styles and things that we just added there. So yeah, that's kind of the live editor allows you to do some basic editing. You can't, change the styles of everything here, but it kind of gives you some base stuff that you can do. And if you want to kind of edit styles and things further in the future, I'll show you ways that you can do that. But another thing we can do in this editor is we can add a custom menu. So we'll just flip this switch and you'll see that it'll add a menu here at the top. And right now this is just kind of a default menu where it just grabs some pages that were already in the Potion site. But if we go over to customize site menu here, we can actually see it's kind of like a little like menu builder where we can add new pages. We can already see that it's already kind of added, I think, the main two pages that are already here. We have this FAQ that it's adding, and we have the buy now. So yeah, so basically we can kind of decide what we want this to be, and then you can actually drag these around, and we can change the order of these as well, which is kind of cool. We have a couple other options. We can make this a sticky header so it always stays at the top even when you scroll. You can add this little shadow here, which kind of just makes it pop. We can change the background color. Trying to think of a good color that we could make this. Maybe if it was if we could grab that color. Let's just grab that. I have a little color picker here. Maybe I can just grab this color here. And then we can throw that hex value here. And then we can change the font color. So let's probably have that be like a white. And so now that kind of pops. And so then, yeah, the other thing we can edit here is we can add a call to action. So it probably makes sense actually for us, because if I saw your Notion page here, I think you have a link to Gumroad, is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So we can jump to Gumroad. And so what we could actually do is make our call to action take us directly to that Gumroad page. So we'll put that link there for the call to action, and we'll say something like buy now maybe. And so if we do this, then maybe we don't need this little page here. So we can hit that trash can, and that will remove the buy now page there. and you can see it kind of previewed that buy now page. But yeah, I think that's starting to look decent. I can save the menu and we can get a better idea of what it looks like here as it updates. So yeah, basically now we have this buy now button that will take them directly to the Gumroad page. We have a menu that shows the FAQ page here, so you can click on that and it goes here. You'll see it's kind of updating as we're moving around, where it kind of flashes and then it will show the updates that we've made. What's happening there is basically Potion's grabbing the latest changes to show it to us automatically. And then after like a minute or two, it'll actually kind of regenerate the site to where it actually, it maybe just did that now. Yeah, now you'll see when I jump in between, it doesn't do that flash. And that's because behind the scenes, Potion's actually recreated the site statically, which makes it to be like a fast website that's good for SEO and stuff like that. But yeah, this is kind of starting to come together here. And that at least kind of shows people kind of how this menu builder works. And so there's a couple other things that we can do in Potion that I'll show next, but I guess I'll stop here. Any questions that you guys have as I'm doing this? Anything that's not making sense?
No, not for me. I've been through the process, so maybe I'm probably not the best person to ask. But Vishnu, you haven't been actually building so far with Potion. So how does this look to you? I mean, so we spent now, I don't know, 10 minutes and already there is something that we can actually see. Now, for the
Exactly.
actual design of it, I mean, it mostly depends on what we already built before in Notion. So not completely. I think there is some additional design things that could be done in Potion, but you would need to be a little bit more savvy than I am to do that.
I would
Yeah.
just like to say that this is a really cool process. In 10 minutes or less, you have something online. If you connect the domain, you can start selling for what I have. I have a digital product. So if I made this, I actually spent like an hour to build this content from something I had before. So an hour and a half from something to selling online. I think that's pretty awesome. And Notion itself is already pretty cool. And having a tool that can have you online this quickly is awesome. So yeah, if Noah, if you can show us how we can beautify this even further, please go ahead.
Yeah. So the kind of the next thing that we can look at is a feature called pretty URLs, where by default, what Potion will do is it will create the URLs. So the URL that shows up here in the bar here, like if we go to the FAQ page, you'll see it's basically creating this URL from the title of the page. And so if we wanted this to be like custom, for example, Potion can't, no matter what the title is, even if we had like a page that was above this, say like we had this main page and then we had like a blog page and we had lots of blog posts in that, the URL would still be the names of those pages instead of like .potion.so/blog/blog name. And so what these pretty URLs allow us to do basically is we can actually be very specific of what we want our page URLs to be. So like if I go in here, I could copy the URL to the FAQ. I could throw that in here, and then we could just kind of make up a URL that's maybe more specific to what we want instead of just the automatically created one. And so you can see, obviously we can add as many of these as we want, but we
So
just
Yeah,
Yep.
I think you just went quite fast here. So for those people who are not who are looking at this for the first time, just to repeat what you did, you actually took the link from the Notion page, and then you added it here to the pretty URLs in Potion.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
right.
no, just repeating what you did because it was, zoom here,
No,
zoom
that's
there.
good.
So just
No,
think
that's good.
people will
I
kind
was
of
kind of
miss
going a
it.
little fast. Yeah, basically we're mapping this Notion URL to this Potion URL that's going to show up, and so you can see here now it's showing /FAQ/help as the URL for this, where the default would just be /FAQ. So it just kind of gives you some more customization with your URLs. So yeah, it's just kind of a good thing to know. Typically people need to do this unless they're doing something a little more custom or a little complex with like multiple pages or things like that. But yeah, I just wanted to show that that is possible here. Let's see. So kind of the next thing to show is the snippet injection editor. And so this is where, you need to have a little bit, maybe some experience maybe with some CSS. But this is where you can actually add your own CSS to things. And really this, if you know some CSS, you could customize your website to be whatever. You could really make go wild with it and make it look pretty crazy. Like for example, like the Potion .so website, this is actually created with Potion, and so I did quite a bit of custom styling to this to make it look like, it'd be kind of hard to tell that this is actually like started from Notion, just because it's pretty custom and looks different. Like you can kind of make buttons and shadows and things like that. But yeah, we can do a little bit of that now, just to kind of show how it works. By the way, those that you are watching live, you can actually go to this link, case study workbook.potion.so, and you can kind of see things update live as we're changing them. So I don't know, maybe that'd be kind of cool, because I mean this website's up there right now, so it should be accessible by those viewing, which is cool.
Yeah, and if somebody needs to find a case study workbook, they can find it.
Sanya, maybe you can put the link in the comments. I already put it on YouTube, but didn't show up in the comments aside. So
Let me see.
yeah,
What was
and
the
while
exact URL?
you can find it on.
Yes, let me get it. I just put it in the chat there.
Okay, got it.
Okay, while you're doing that, Sanya, I can ask Noah. So this, so if we had a designer who could help out with CSS and custom styling, would they, if they are professional designers, would they need any additional help or instructions on how to use Potion, or is it just out of the box?
It's pretty out of the box. Like, yeah, a designer that knows like CSS should be able to jump in there and customize stuff and really kind of make it look how you want. And I actually have like a designer that, whenever people want someone, I kind of refer them to this person, because they've built tons of websites with Notion and Potion specifically. So that's an option, for a resource. But yeah, people should be able to pick it up, and kind of showing what this process even looks like real quick, that the designer would go through. Maybe that will help as well.
Sure.
But just kind of show, like, Potion has some guides here, so you can see these are some different guides that kind of show the different processes of building your site. Adding fonts, adding your menu. You can add analytics to your website. Adding a custom domain. But the part we're talking about, customizing your Potion site, this kind of shows the steps to kind of actually go in and customize what this looks like with the snippet injection. And so if I go back here, let's just for fun, let's make, so this is kind of like that's kind of like a button, I guess, that goes to maybe like the buy now page. And so if I right click on that and click inspect, we can actually see like the CSS classes and styles that are being created by Potion to kind of show this. And that's what we can then kind of edit and change in snippet injection. So like here we have this Notion callout class. And so we could do something like making this have a border radius and, just kind of changing up the style a little bit. Let's see if I do like 15, maybe 25. Let's see if I add it here. So this is, so you can kind of now see this has more of like a round border. And so this is kind of like, this is actually just all in, Google Chrome, but it allows you to kind of edit and just kind of test like what things are going to look like. But then what we could do is we can, as we see what this looks like here, we can then bring it into Potion itself by going over here, and then we'll just like call out that the callout class and give it the border radius. Let's say 20 pixels just for fun. And then like the important thing here is just like making sure that we're actually doing it to the correct class here. But then all we need to do is click save. And then this should actually update. And it looks like it's not taking it currently, probably because I'm doing something wrong, but let's see if I can get that to
I think it's working.
Well, it's working because I have this one here, I think. Let's see if I refresh. If I refresh and get a, okay, yeah, it is working. So yeah, it shows the border radius that we just added. And so it's kind of that process, this process of finding styles, changing what it looks like, and then actually like basically copying and pasting that into Potion so that it's there. And then once you save, it will actually show up here. And it's like, you can change all kinds of things. We could change like the colors. We could add like an animation when the cursor hovers over this. It could then like change the background color of this button that we're kind of creating here. There's lots of things that we could do. But yeah, that at least kind of is a quick example of that and what's possible with Potion. We could even do things where like maybe we want this buy now page to be part of our website, but we don't want it to be on our main page. We could make this whole block invisible so people can't see it, but it's still something we could link to. So yeah, there's just like different options like that.
How do you do that?
Yes,
I
she
need
wants
that.
to know. So this is basically now a support call from Sanya answered on live video.
No, I just had a case maybe yesterday where I was looking for a place on my website where nobody will look. And then I placed the page there. So.
Yeah, so how you could do that is, so I just highlighted or inspected that buy now page. And so another kind of cool thing for styling and stuff is Potion creates a custom class for each Notion block. So you can see this Notion block has this Notion block, and then there's kind of like this random ID. And what that allows us to do is kind of grab that specific block, and we can try to change that one specifically. The other thing I'll do is there's a class called index-page, which is created for the main page, which is what we're on. And so kind of what I can do here, I'll just finish writing the rest of the CSS for this. But basically what I'm doing here is I'm saying anything on the index page, which is the main page, that has this Notion block ID, which is just our page title there, right? We're going to tell it to display none. So then it shouldn't show this up. But on the actual buy now page, it will still be visible. So let's see, we'll save that, and boom, you see it just disappeared. And so yeah, this is kind of the easiest way to like hide things, is do this display none, where you can kind of grab the class. The reason I had to do this index page as well is because each page has a block ID also. Let's see if I show this. You can see up here at the top, there's this block ID. I'm pretty sure that should be, I guess it's not. I was going to say it should be the same block ID as the page, but it might not be, which is fine. That just means that I probably didn't need this index page, because I was thinking that it would hide this whole page as well, but doesn't look like that's the case. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Basically, like each block plus the whole page has these unique IDs, so then we can kind of like target those in CSS and add our specific styling to them.
That's amazing.
And
that's great.
It is.
Yeah, I can actually.
Yeah,
go ahead, Sanya.
Now, I just wanted to ask for those people who don't feel comfortable playing around with this. I actually haven't tested it yet, so I was wondering whether it works with embedding some widgets from Indify. Like you can really easily build buttons there. It's a widget tool for Notion. I know it works with Notion. I just never tried it with Potion. Are you aware of it?
I think I have heard of that.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it, or if you have, is this it? Indify.co? It looks like this might be it.
It's really easy to build some buttons here, and to embed it in Notion. You really don't need to do any code whatsoever. So just never tested it with Potion.
Yeah, so most embeds kind of work out of box with Potion. Like if it works in Notion, it should work in Potion. There are some where I have to kind of like whitelist, so I'll have to check with this one. But that's another good idea of like something that we can kind of just preview real quickly. I'm trying to think of something I could embed quickly. I mean, so I guess, for example, like
don't
like a
worry
YouTube...
about it. I will quickly now create a button there, and I'll send you a link. And in the meanwhile, Vishnya can ask what she was starting to ask before I interrupted her.
Okay, that sounds good.
About that head and body section. So basically, do I have the freedom to insert like almost anything in the head that I would normally insert into a website, such as, I don't know, Google Tag Manager? Would that work? Or do you have something that you also had to whitelist?
No, so yeah, with this snippet injection, you can kind of put in here whatever you want. Like, so like here we obviously have our styles inside the style tag. You could have your Google Tag Manager script that you could just paste up above that. Really the difference between the head and body is if you put it in the head, it will kind of load up right away. And you probably would want that for like an analytics kind of like a tag script. But you have to be careful that, you know, if there's any scripts that take a long time, the head has to load before the rest of the website can load. So there's some things you might want in body because they might take longer and they'll kind of load after your site loads up. But yeah, you can kind of put anything in here that you would want on your site for different scripts and things like that. Or even like here, I have like this little chat widget, like intercom or something like that. You could put the script for that in here, so then that shows up on your website. Yeah, you have different options like that.
That's amazing. And regarding CSS, so basically everything that Notion has exposed, everything that I can pick from page source, the style names, the classes of in CSS, if I can see that in page source, so that means that the designer can edit that and customize it. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, you can change all the styles of all those classes and stuff here, just like you're saying. The one thing you can't really do is maybe if you like wanted to add your own, like inject your own HTML right into like the blocks. Since like the blocks are coming over from Notion, I mean, I guess you could technically write a script that kind of does that, but that would probably be a little bit complex. But yeah, really, like you have all of your content coming from Notion, and that creates all the, well, then Potion recreates all those HTML blocks and stuff, and any of the styles or anything, those that can be edited. So yeah,
That's great.
that's good.
Yeah, you can try to embed the code that Sanya has sent.
Okay, yeah, let's try it out. So you just added a little button, so we could just go over to Notion, and I'm guessing it could be something we could place here. So this is that link. And oh, cool. So we got a buy now. We can kind of drag this around a little bit to kind of size it how we want in Notion itself. And then, yeah, let's see if Potion does this correctly. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I guess that worked. I didn't really know. So, so you'll see that this button now kind of has like a default color coming from Indify, the embed, and so that doesn't necessarily match perfectly what we want in Potion. Either I bet Indify has ways to kind of add some styling as well, so where you could change that background color in Indify itself, or it's possible that we could do that in Potion too. But yeah, so that kind of stuff is possible. Oh, interesting. Well, let's just change that to dark mode right there. But yeah, embeds are definitely a great way to kind of add other custom features and things to your website. Because really, like any embed, you know, like YouTube embeds, video embeds, different services that have embeds, like forms, like that's a great way to add forms to your website where people can sign up for things. You could then basically embed that in Notion, and it will show up on your Potion site. So those are definitely useful for creating some custom widgets and things on your site.
Noah, let me ask you, what's the best way to suggest features such as this one? So this one was live requested, but how do people contact you? How do you even accept requests for features?
Yeah. So basically the best way is just to go to potion.so, and down on the right, this is kind of a chat, a live chat where people can ask questions. You know, if they need help with anything, I try to answer as quickly as possible. But this is, you know, it's also a good place to be like, hey, I have a feature request. This would be cool to see. I kind of then have a system to kind of manage those on the back end. But yeah, if people have any feature requests, you can just put them in here, and I'll see what makes sense. And yeah, I mean, I can't promise necessarily that I'll get those feature requests in right away, but you know, over time, as I figure out what seems to be the most important for people, I'll kind of make those changes and update Potion to make it better for people.
That's great.
What's next on the roadmap?
Yeah, good question. So I mean, there's a lot to do. I'm a solo entrepreneur, so I'm building this by myself right now, at least for the time being. And one of the big things, and actually I do have a roadmap here on the site. One of the next big things I'm working towards that you can see is in progress here is kind of adding more to the live editor. Right now, the live editor that we kind of went through here, you know, you can only do so many things with it. And so looks like it logged me out here. But I want to slowly add, you know, more ways to kind of customize the styles of your site. without having to know CSS. And so kind of slowly working towards that. Being able to have a live editor for each page in your site and change the settings per page is kind of like one of the big things. And so I'm kind of redesigning a bit of the dashboard to do all that, and hopefully it'll be have like a better user experience, have just be a better live editor experience in general. And so that's one of the things I'm kind of working towards. You can see the per page settings, per page password protected sites, I think will be a big one that is on the roadmap soon. Kind of part of the redesign I was talking about is making it more mobile friendly. Right now, the dashboard isn't like super easy to use on mobile. You kind of have to use like your laptop or something like that. But yeah, those are some of the things coming up. You can kind of see some of these other different ideas in the future. Like this one, manually publishing sites. So like right now, whenever you change your Notion page, it updates it like live, right? And that's good for a lot of situations, especially for like solo creators, people kind of creating their own sites. And it works in that you can create pages in Notion and then just kind of drag them into your site once they're ready, maybe. But for teams, that process, there just isn't enough process to that, is some of the feedback that I've gotten. And so allowing teams to kind of have a process to manually update and publish their website is kind of something I want to build for teams that makes sense for them. So that's something on the roadmap. Another one is just building more templates. So you can see here, these are kind of like some templates that people can use to get started. So like these have been kind of designed by designers previously. And kind of how it works is people can just copy this CSS and then just drop it into their snippet injection. And then basically they'll kind of recreate this site on Potion. And so basically just, I could definitely make a lot more of these for different use cases and different styles to just kind of give people a good kind of head start on their website. But yeah, that's probably most of the roadmap that I have kind of planned out so far. There's lots of other things that would be cool to do in the future, but it'll take time, but hopefully we'll get there. So
let me ask you.
Yeah, sorry.
If just one question. So those designs, those templates that you just showed and mentioned, were those user contributed, or did you have them built for your application? What's the deal here?
Good question. So about half of these are user contributed, where they created their site and they're like, hey, I want everyone else to be able to see what this looks like, or to be able to basically use this. Like this one's a good example because this is pretty cool that someone built this in Potion and Notion. But then anyone else can go and use this template, and it's pretty styled well and stuff like that. So yeah, about half of them were from users, and then half of them were me mainly. So yeah, and that's a cool thing. Like if anyone wants to create a template, like you can just reach out, and I'd be glad to kind of work with someone, and we can probably get it up on here if it would be something good for other people to use.
Definitely.
Yeah, basically, I just wanted to ask, you said you're building this on your own. So what can people do to help you? Do you need any help?
I mean, if they want to help me, that's awesome. I'd appreciate that. I mean, so I think this is a good one. Like if they have like CSS skills and stuff like that, creating templates for the community, I think would be really helpful. Always like just spreading the word, sharing on Twitter, sharing on social media, your Potion websites, and just sharing with your friends Potion. I mean, that definitely helps to kind of get some more people using Potion. But yeah, I mean, those are kind of the main things. And then obviously, like if you have feedback or things like that, that's always helpful for me to just know how to keep making the product better.
Are you taking any interns?
I I'm not currently, but yeah.
Is she asking for a friend or something,
No,
Sonia?
no, basically, no. I'm just, I mean, I love both Notion and Potion. But I understand if, we all have so many feature requests and everything. And I understand that not everything can be built overnight. So I'm just trying to find a way to help Noah to get
Yeah.
as much as possible, as fast as possible.
Yeah. You want to move your features in your wish list up on the
Yeah.
Noah's list. Just admit it.
Yeah, of
Let
course.
me upvote one. Let me upvote that feature on your roadmap regarding password protected pages of a website, because I'm thinking about building a community and I don't want to build it on social networks, and I'm thinking about my own
Mm,
community, and this is something that sounds and looks like perfect for a beginner. So +1 please on that.
thanks. Good to hear. Thanks for that.
And when Rishna now mentioned a community, I just wanted to mention that you actually started building Potion in public. So I don't know, this was kind of new to me. Maybe this is common knowledge in the world, maybe even in Croatia, but I'm not so used to that. Vishnu, how about you? Have you seen it
Yeah,
often that
yeah, of
people are
course.
building in public? Yeah.
Yeah, if you're on Twitter for at least a month, you can see somebody building something in public, because Twitter is a great place for developers and makers. So yeah, there's already people creating communities for people who build in public, and Noah is probably very known there, I guess.
Yeah, he is. I wanted to ask, I mean, Noah, you're actually sharing from the beginning since you started building Potion, both the good things that were happening, your plans. I also saw recently that you asked people what they think about Black Friday, for example. Should you do
Mm-hmm.
it? Should you not do it? So it's on that level. And I just wanted to ask, can you recall some of the highs and some of the lows that you shared? So, for people who are not so familiar with the public sharing, so what does it actually mean to build in public?
Yeah, good question. I think, people probably have, even like people that are trying to build in public probably have different definitions. But what I think it is, and I think the better way to do it is really just try to share transparently, what you're building, kind of sharing behind the scenes, and showing the highs and the lows. I think it can almost be maybe not great for people to see just all highs. Like that can maybe be bad for their mental health, or even just like not seeing the full picture. So I really try to show like the highs and the lows to kind of show what's really happening behind the scenes. And the reason I think, more and more people are doing it, and is really just because I think it can be valuable to those that are kind of following along. Because it's kind of like when you're seeing actually how like a product is being built and the decisions being made, sometimes like I feel like you can learn more from that than just reading like business books around like theory and things that aren't like real life examples. And so that's really what I try to do, is just like kind of just be transparent, share kind of the different decisions I'm making, what's going on, and so hopefully that is like then valuable to people that are following along. um, and then let's see, to think back to maybe some highs and lows. Definitely a couple of highs in the Potion journey that went really well, that I was really just thankful about how they went, was I launched on Product Hunt in about March of this last year, and I was able to get first of the day, and then actually first of the week, and I think it ended up being like third in the month. And that just went really well. And that's kind of one of the things where, with kind of Product Hunt launches or things like that, like there's only so many things that you can control as the maker. Like I kind of just tried to plan as well as I could, just making sure my product was ready and reaching out to people that I knew to help support. But other than that, like there's not much you can do, and it's kind of just putting it up there and seeing what happens. And I really think the product hunt launch going well was kind of a testimony to basically the build in public, like how that was probably one of the main benefits that I got, at least from the build in public, was people kind of want to like support you, and because they're kind of seeing your story and your journey, they're kind of like want to get your back and be behind what you're doing. And so I think I definitely saw that through the product hunt launch, where people came out to support the launch and share about it and stuff like that. And I think that's really why it did well. So I was really thankful for all those people doing that. So that was definitely a high. Let's see, I'd say a low has been, this was probably like 2 months ago or so. I had a site outage. Like all my potion sites were down for probably like 4 hours. And so that was just like a really stressful time. And I tried to share that, I think, a couple of days after it happened on Twitter, and still kind of try to share the low and like what I'd learned from it, why that happened. But those kind of things can be a little harder for someone to like share in public, because it could be a failure or something like that. But that was definitely kind of tricky, and kind of a low in the potion journey. And then like in general, just like churn's going to happen in any kind of SaaS business, which churn means, if people aren't familiar, basically just like people canceling and leaving the service. And potion, like in the beginning, like every time someone would churn, it was kind of like hard, like it would hurt my myself, like how I actually felt. And so I've had to I've had to kind of just get used to like, okay, that's just what it is. Not let
Like,
it
why
affect my
don't you
day.
love me?
Yeah. And so yeah, I think I've gotten better, at least at like not letting that affect my day, because it used to be like if someone churned, it would kind of make me kind of down for the rest of the day, which obviously isn't good. And it's just kind of the way life and business goes. But that probably was, there's definitely some downs from that in the past. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
It does. It does. What's your goal for Potion? Like in general, the main goal. Where do you see Potion, and that you say, okay, we really did it. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I wanted.
Mm-hmm. I mean, really, what I've been trying to build with Potion is a business that I really enjoy creating, where I enjoy the process of it. But at the same time, hopefully it can give me some kind of financial independence. And so, it doesn't have to be a huge business to do that. I think when I started like my entrepreneur journey, I was kind of interested in like the startup, like unicorns, and trying to build like a huge business. And I actually tried to do that in one of my first businesses and like raise money and stuff like that. And it didn't go like that well. But I also found through that process that like doing that is like kind of stressful and not necessarily what I want to do. And so that's when I kind of started on like the indie maker, kind of indie hacker kind of journey of, just trying to create a business that works well for myself. And maybe I build it to a small team or something like that, but really building the kind of business that I want to build. And so in a way, I'm kind of like optimizing for enjoyment along the way, like creating a good product for people that works well, but also optimizing for enjoying the whole thing, enjoying building the business and stuff like that. And so, I mean, I feel like, I mean, that's already happening, which I'm really thankful for. Right now I have a goal to get to 5K MRR by the end of the year. And so I'd be really excited to get to that. But, more like a long-term goal would really just to have Potion at least make my salary from my day job, my old day job, which shouldn't be too much. Like it'll be a little bit longer, but that would be great to get to that kind of milestone. And then from there, just kind of enjoying creating the business and making a great business that's valuable for people is kind of the the main goal. So yeah, that's kind of what I kind of foresee in the future. And I'm sure, also with goals and things, I feel like they always change. Like after a couple years and you've kind of done or achieved different things in life, kind of sometimes we raise the bar and we want to go for something else. And I'm sure that will happen in some way with Potion at some point, hopefully. But yeah, mainly just want to enjoy the process.
Yeah, or Notion comes in and says, "Oh, hi Noah, we would like to buy Potion, so you better find
Yeah,
another project." How would you feel about that?
I mean, I would be pretty cool with that. I mean, if that's what Notion wanted to do, yeah, I'd be cool with that. And I am a maker by heart, so like I love creating new things. Like one of the things I enjoy the most is just like learning and figuring out how to do new stuff. And so sometimes I have to be careful because I don't want to like go off and like build new products and stuff, which sometimes I would maybe want to do just because it's fun. And I need to focus on Potion right now. But yeah, if that was to happen, like I'm sure I could find another project or business that I could start working on, and I would have fun with that as well.
Cool.
Now that we are mentioning acquisitions, I'm very interested in how the tech evolves and what the companies or big tech are doing. So I legit expect one day to wake up to the news about Notion being bought by somebody. What do you think about that in terms of what do you hope for the Notion for the Notion the company to happen, and where do you think this is going to go?
That's a good question. I feel like, if Notion gets bought or not, I feel like really depends on the founder and what he wants, which I haven't really followed him too well to know like what he's wanting to do. But it is interesting that I don't know if you guys saw that Microsoft just created like a competitor just recently. And so, I mean, obviously, like some of these big tech companies are wanting to do similar things to Notion. And so maybe that means that that some of them are trying to buy Notion. But I don't know. It's hard to say because I could kind of see Notion just going on their own for quite a while, and that maybe they're not interested in getting acquired by one of the big tech companies. So I kind of see like that might happen, especially since Microsoft, obviously they didn't buy Notion, but they made a competitor. So maybe that's going to happen with some of the other tech companies like Google, because Google has some similar kinds of products, and I could see them wanting to go more in the Notion direction. So I could see them maybe just kind of building that themselves instead of acquiring, just because they kind of have some things already in that space. But yeah, it's hard to tell.
Cool.
Mm, for is there something that you would like to share and that neither of us asked today?
No, I mean, I think we covered most of the things I thought would be cool to go over and to show kind of how Potion works. So this was fun, and yeah, I don't think I really have anything else. Thanks for having me, and this was good.
It was fun. I would just like to ask you, where can people actually find you? I think you're mostly on Twitter. Can you share where people can connect with you? Can they follow you?
Yeah, so Twitter is definitely probably the best place. I'm most active. My handle is Noah W Bragg. Um, but then I do share a little bit on YouTube as well. I kind of do these like little like 2 minute like update videos that kind of share my progress on Potion, and I'll usually post those on Twitter, but then I'll also post them on YouTube as well. And then I have a weekly podcast called Product Journey, where me and another uh, indie hacker kind of share our journey just in podcast form every week, and just kind of share like what we're working on, what decisions we're making, how things are going. And podcasting is it really is a cool format just because it is longer form, and you can kind of share a lot more and more of the details and even how you feel about things than like on Twitter. So that's a good place if you kind of want to follow along in maybe a deeper or different way. So yeah, that's my product journey podcast. But yeah, those are the places. And yeah, thanks.
Welcome. Vishnya, any last thoughts?
Well, I'm very glad that Noah showed us what Potion can do today. Like I said, in the back room, I'm definitely thinking about building a website, and if I'm going to build something, I'm going to build it with Potion. So thanks Noah for showing us,
Thanks.
for meeting you, and I'm going to follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. It was nice meeting you. And yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, thanks
Sure.
so much for coming. And thank you also for building it. And thank you for really having one of the best customer services, even though you're alone, but you do reply to each message and you do it pretty quickly. So congrats on that.
Thanks. I try.
Uh, so we'll finish up. If you guys liked this video, show it with one like, subscribe to the channel, and this Friday, I'm actually hosting another Notion workshop. And you can join us there. It will also be in English. It will be with René Brackus and 46 Elks. And we will also do something pretty fun. We will be sending SMS directly from Notion. So if this is something that you might use for your business, if you have either customers or teammates or whoever who you would like to send batch SMS, join us this Friday, 5 p.m., same channels. So thank you, Noah, and thank you, Vishnya, for being here. I hope it was fun for everyone who watched. Thank you to everyone who commented, and see you soon. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.